Every week, you consume hundreds of hours of psychological content, from dense academic lectures to 60-second videos analyzing your attachment style. We're drowning in information about how our own minds work. For thousands of years, understanding the human mind, the psyche, required intense, dedicated study. Ancient philosophers treated it as the ultimate pursuit of wisdom. Today, that rigorous study has been packaged into an algorithmically optimized feed. The deep work of self-reflection is now a passive scrolling experience. This creates a very specific modern trap. Binge-watching videos about procrastination feels like productive self-improvement. But notice what happens when you turn your screen off. Your actual, real-world behavior remains exactly the same. To fix this, we must measure the true return on investment of the content you watch. This chart tracks that ROI. The x-axis measures the cognitive and emotional effort a piece of content requires. The y-axis measures its real-world impact. Content that actually upgrades your life sits in the top right. High effort, high impact. Yet the vast majority of our daily media diet is heavily concentrated in the bottom left. Low effort and, predictably, low impact. We can break the modern psychology market down into 3 distinct tiers based on their exact input costs and practical outputs. Treating your media consumption as a ruthless resource allocation problem is the only reliable way to stop passively scrolling and start upgrading your mental operating system. Tier 1 is pop psychology. This content is highly relatable and algorithm-friendly. It is designed to analyze personal quirks and everyday behaviors. You know this tier. These are the videos explaining the hidden reasons why we forget a name 2 seconds after hearing it, or why some people treat their own birthdays like any normal Tuesday. The required input here is practically zero. It asks nothing of you cognitively and is built for completely passive consumption. The payoff is immediate, a powerful rush of emotional validation. It makes you feel seen, normalizes your habits, and temporarily drops your social anxiety. But this creates a state of passive awareness. You know the label for your behavior, but you lack the tools to change it. Understanding that your divided attention caused you to forget your coworker's name doesn't magically build a functional system to help you remember it tomorrow. Tier 1 provides a soothing illusion of progress. It is ultimately entertainment masquerading as therapeutic action. Tier 2 moves us into therapeutic restructuring. This content is heavily rooted in the actual practices of clinical psychology and counseling. This tier draws on the rigorous historical work of psychoanalysts like Carl Jung, who mapped the dense and complicated structures of the unconscious mind. Modern examples of this include cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. The core mechanism here is the active pursuit of getting clarity by identifying and reframing specific negative thoughts. For example, a Tier 2 tool like negative visualization requires you to explicitly define the worst-case scenario. By staring directly at the exact fear, you neutralize the ambient anxiety surrounding it. The input cost is high. This demands intense emotional labor. You have to endure uncomfortable self-reflection and rigorously track your own cognitive distortions. The outcome justifies the cost. Mastering this tier yields foundational, long-term improvements in emotional regulation, mental clarity, and genuine peace of mind. But implementation carries a hidden tax. When you use these tools to establish new psychological boundaries, it often creates immediate friction and conflict with the people in your existing relationships. Unlike the videos in Tier 1, clinical restructuring does not offer an easy dopamine hit or immediate comfort. Tier 2 is a deliberate trade. You are sacrificing short-term emotional ease for long-term psychological stability. Tier 3 is strategic optimization. These are analytical frameworks designed strictly to outsmart human biases and mathematically optimize your decisions. This is the realm of behavioral economics, the complex intersection where microeconomic theory meets neuroscience. The required input is an exceptionally high cognitive load. You are constantly battling your brain's natural energy-saving heuristics. Take the gambler's fallacy. Our intuition tells us that if a roulette wheel hits red 4 times, black is somehow due. Recognizing how our intuitive judgments completely fail against statistical reality is the core work of this tier. The practical outcome is highly tangible. measurable protection for your financial investments, your physical assets, and your career capital. By overcoming the cognitive bias of small probability overweighting, you can literally stop yourself from paying 100% markups on useless warranties or wire damage insurance policies. But there is a primary trade-off. Attempting to apply these rigid analytical models to minor daily tasks leads directly to severe analysis paralysis. Tier 3 abandons emotional comfort entirely in favor of strict mathematical optimization and objective reality. Looking back at our quadrant chart, the mapping is clear. Tier 1 sits in the bottom left. Tier 2 spans the middle. Tier 3 occupies the top right. We can convert this matrix into a practical decision tree, starting with one question. What is your primary goal today? If you are exhausted from a long week and simply need to decompress, take the validation path. Watch Tier 1 pop psychology. Enjoying this content is perfectly fine, provided you acknowledge it is entertainment and stop expecting it to fix your life. If you are stuck in destructive emotional loops and need to repair your baseline, take the therapeutic path. Direct your attention entirely to Tier 2 and CBT frameworks. If you are managing investments, evaluating risk, or making high-stakes business choices, take the strategic path. Restrict your inputs to Tier 3 behavioral economics. The danger comes from mixing up the diets. Do not try to use pop psychology for a major business decision, and do not use cold behavioral economics to soothe a broken relationship. There is no inherently bad psychology content, only misaligned investments of your attention. Your media diet dictates your mental operating system. Choose your inputs based on the outputs you actually